Good morning, everyone. Thank you for joining us again today for our last instalment of the StraightArrow virtual training in e-commerce. My name is Rebecca Golter. I'm the Director of Marketing and Events for the National Retail Association, and we've been very pleased to partner with StraightArrow over the past 9 months or so as digital and creative solution. So I'll just hand over to Christine now and we'll get the ball rolling.
Thank you, Beck. Good morning, everyone. Welcome to today's session on email marketing for e-commerce. To those who attended last week's webinar on SEO and social content strategy, it's great to see you here again. Thank you again to the NRA for this opportunity to share knowledge with your members. So today's webinar is the last of our 4-part webinar series on e-commerce marketing. So here are some reminders before we begin. So please take note of any tactics that you think would be worth exploring for your e-commerce website or business. Have your pen and papers ready or your favorite note-taking app. So we'll also have a Q&A portion towards the end of the session. If you've attended our previous webinars, you know that we like our polls for us to understand more about where you're at right now in your e-commerce marketing journey. So the poll questions will just pop up on your screen. And a reminder also to make sure that on your screen, when you view this webinar, the slides presented or the screen is maximized. And then we'll also be sharing links to free resources and other references that could help you with your e-commerce email marketing throughout this session. So the links will be posted real time in the chat box, and it will also be shared by email after the session. So in the next hour, what we're discussing today would be first is to define and get on the same page as to what email marketing and email marketing automation are, understand how it can help in nurturing your customers, and talk through different tactics that can help in your e-commerce email marketing processes. So before I introduce you to today's speaker, a quick background about us. So StraightArrow is an outsourcing company specializing in creative and digital marketing support. So we've been helping businesses in the US, UK, and Australia for almost 10 years now. As Beck mentioned earlier, we partnered with the NRA last September to be able to help NRA members scale their retail businesses online. So one of StraightArrow's expertise is setting up retail businesses on e-commerce platforms in as short as 3 days. So if you have an online strategy and need to launch an online shop quickly, we can help you with that. But if you do not have an e-commerce strategy and would like to learn more, so speaking again today is e-commerce expert and owner of withSmallBusiness, Claudia North. So Claudia is joining us again to share her expertise and be a resource for you on building your e-commerce business. So as mentioned, Claudia is a co-founder of withSmallBusiness, and she's been in the digital marketing and strategy space for more than 25 years now. She has worked with businesses across different countries, and we're very happy to partner with her through this series of webinars on e-commerce marketing. Hey, Claudia, morning.
Good morning, Christine. Thank you for the introduction, and thank you, Rebecca, for the opportunity to present our final webinar today to your valued NRA members. So welcome to those small business owners that have joined us. We hope that you get a lot out of today's session, and particularly some practical actions that you can actually start applying to your business as of today. So just a little bit about withSmallBusiness. So our mission is to significantly increase the success rates of small businesses globally by 2025. So we aim to achieve this by empowering small business owners just like you to grow sustainably so that you can succeed over the long term. So we're with you so that you don't have to go it alone. So I would just like to kick off today with a poll. So your responses to the question that we'll put up today will help me just better tailor the webinar to your marketing needs. So if you could just take a moment to answer our poll on, do you have any email marketing automation set up? So if you can just enter your answer into the poll, that should have popped up onto your screen with a yes, I don't have email marketing automation set up, or a no, or an I don't know. I'll just give everyone a moment. Okay, great. So we've basically got 80% of people that don't actually have any automation set up. So that's great. I'll certainly tailor today to that, as well as the people that already have some set up. There'll certainly be plenty for you to take on board today as well. So with that in mind, as Christine mentioned, what we will be covering today is, first of all, what is email marketing automation? We'll just touch on that briefly. Where you can apply email marketing through the marketing funnel or through your customer's journey. And we'll also run through some email marketing best practice tips that you can actually roll out to your current email practices. And then finally, we'll be going through specifically 2 email marketing automations, just so that you can have an immediate impact on your engagement when you activate these exercises or these tactics once you get started. So let's get into it. So what is email marketing automation? So there was a recent report that found that only 3% of small businesses with less than $5 million in revenue have actually invested in email marketing automation. So this actually presents a really big opportunity for small businesses to grow their revenue without actually having a significant financial outlay. So what is email marketing automation? So just as the name implies, it's automated email marketing, which is sending out emails to your customers and prospects automatically based on a schedule or a trigger that you've actually defined. So as a small business owner, you already have enough on your plate. And as your business grows and more leads start flooding in, it's only going to become even more challenging for you to offer a consistent experience to everyone that actually interacts with your business. So email automation helps you take care of your existing customers as well as your new leads as they become added to your database. So what email marketing automation is not is emails that your customers get when they place an order. So these are more transactional emails. So despite the fact that they have a lot in common, email automation doesn't refer to the emails that they get when they place an order. So these are mainly transactional emails that are sent out automatically, usually from your e-commerce platforms, say Shopify or withSmallBusiness. So when somebody places an order, they might get an automated transactional email that says, thank you for your order, or your product has just been shipped. So we're actually talking about the marketing automation today, not the transactional automations. So the primary goal of those emails are actually about notifying, they're not about engaging. So today we're going to talk about the engaging email marketing automations. So jumping into our second poll for today, do you have an email marketing strategy? So what I'm referring to here is, do you have a plan on how you intend to build out your email marketing aside from just doing email blasts or broadcasts to drive short-term revenue? So please take a moment to answer the poll. So do you have any email marketing strategy? Give everyone a moment. Okay, great. Thank you. So again, the majority of the audience actually doesn't have an email marketing strategy. So again, today you'll leave here with an email marketing strategy that you'll be able to follow and execute over the coming months, etc. So what we'll do is crack into your email marketing strategy. So basically, your email marketing strategy should be utilising email automations through each stage of your customer's journey. So here is a customer's journey with your brand. This is also called a marketing funnel, which you may have seen around. We're going to quickly just run through these stages. I'm sure you've seen the marketing funnels before, but just to touch on what the customer is actually thinking at that stage in the journey. So at the awareness stage, obviously it's the uppermost stage of the marketing funnel. Potential customers are drawn into this stage through marketing campaigns that you might be running and discovering new brands. So basically the lead generation takes place as information is collected for nurturing further down our funnel. The interest stage is once the leads are actually generated, so they move into the interest stage. So where they learn more about your company or your products and what you are about. So once a lead has demonstrated their interest by signing up to your email list, this is an opportunity for you to nurture your relationship and introduce in more detail what your brand is actually about. They then drop into the consideration stage. So the consideration stage, this is where leads have been changed into prospective customers. So you can send your prospective customers more information now about your products and your offers through automated email campaigns, whilst continuing to nurture them with targeted content. After they go through consideration, then move into an intent stage. So to get to the intent stage, the prospects must demonstrate that they're actually interested in buying your product. So this can happen via a quiz that you might have on your website, or you may have sent them via an email. It might be after a product demonstration, or it could even be when a product has been actually added to your shopping cart on your website, or to their shopping cart. So this is an opportunity for you to make a strong case for why your product is the right choice for your prospective customer at this point in time. Once they go from intent, they go into the final stage of evaluation. In the evaluation stage, buyers are making a final decision about whether or not to buy your particular product or service. And your email marketing at this stage needs to focus on nurturing the decision-making process and convincing the buyer that your product or service is the best choice for them. And believe it or not, they finally purchase. So as I mentioned, your email marketing strategy should basically be utilising email automations through each stage of the customer journey. So what email series would you have for each of these customer journey stages, you might ask? So for awareness, look, in the olden days, you could have bought an email list and then emailed that list to introduce your brand. These days, due to privacy policy regulations, this tactic is a little bit risky for your business. However, at this stage, from an awareness perspective, you could utilise email marketing automation if you were to do something like a collaboration with a brand where you had permission to send emails to their database to introduce your brand. However, other marketing channels are more effective for awareness and reach at the awareness stage. So we'll touch on that a little bit later. So for the interest stage of the customer journey, we would actually be looking at what we call a welcome or an indoctrination series. So again, this is going to be one of the automations that we're going to go through in detail a little bit later. So I'll run through that shortly. For the next stage, for the consideration phase, you would have an engagement series. So an engagement series is about presenting yourself as an expert or an authority figure on your subject to your subscribers. For the intent stage, you would have your product interest series. So the product interest series is for when a subscriber is identified as being interested in a particular product but hasn't purchased. So they'll be sent a product interest email series that provides additional information on that product or service and basically removing any barriers to purchase. For the evaluation stage in your customer's journey, you would have an abandoned cart series. So the purpose of an abandoned cart series is to remind subscribers that the items that they've left behind in their shopping cart is still there and encourage them to come back and complete their purchase. So again, this will be one of the automations that we're going to go into detail a little later. And yes, they purchase. And at this stage, we have either an onboarding or a training automation. So depending on whether you have products or services, these will vary. So the onboarding automation is to help subscribers get the most value from your service. Whereas if you're selling products, then a training automation will be rolled out instead. Now, training might sound a little bit weird depending on what products you're selling, but it's more about, demonstrations, different ways to use a product, how you might use a product with one of your other products. So it's basically just a whole lot more information to give them comfort about their decision and help them better utilise and get engaged with your product and your brand. So now email marketing automation is definitely an effective tool for nurturing your leads from basically becoming a lead into a new customer. And although most marketing funnels you may have seen end here, building a sustainable business actually means investing in more than nurturing new leads to becoming new customers. So it actually means investing in nurturing existing customers. So when we look at existing customers, it's basically a reverse funnel because as we nurture our existing customers, our business revenue grows. So according to a recent study, attracting new customers will actually cost a company 5 to 25 times more than keeping an existing customer. And a mere 5% increase on customer retention can increase a company's profitability by up to 75%. So you can see why nurturing your existing customers becomes so important. So depending on the stage of your business growth, the attention on both new and existing customers should vary. So if you're a fairly new business with not such a big database, then you want to look at an 80-20 approach. So that is 80% of your marketing investment is potentially on new customers and 20% on your existing. However, if you've been operating for some time and you actually have a reasonable database, then the opposite would apply. So that is a 20% on new customer marketing and an 80% on nurturing existing customers. So the funnel stages for nurturing your existing customers once someone actually purchases are, we've got retention and repeat, then they move into loyalty, then into referral, and then ultimately become an advocate for your brand. So in terms of retention or repeat, this is where you want to encourage a repeat purchase of your product, features or services. Now, if you offer a product that isn't, or a proposition that doesn't actually have a repeat purchase opportunity, then definitely in terms of your product strategy, it's time to start thinking about how do I actually retain and build an ongoing relationship with my audience or with my customers. That's for sustainable growth for your business. In terms of loyalty, this is obviously where your customers really develop a preference for your brand and gain a personal connection. The referral stage. So if you think of a brand or a product that you really love, have you talked about it, with your friends? Most likely. So by this stage, your loyal customers are likely to be happy to refer their friends to you. So encouraging referrals with rewards is definitely a win-win for your highly engaged customers as well as you. Advocacy. So this is the ultimate evolution for nurturing your happy customers, where they ultimately do your marketing for you. So believe it or not, you can actually build out email automation series for your email marketing automation for each of these stages in your customer's journey as well. So I'll take you through what they are. So for the retention and repeat stage, you can actually build an upsell or a re-engagement automation. So your upsell automation can be built on data. So for example, if you were a workwear clothing brand and you did some analysis on your sales data, say that you could see a trend that a number of customers that bought, say, work boots went on to buy work pants. This is where you can actually build out a tailored automation just to those customers that have bought work boots and potentially offer them a discount for 2 pairs of work pants. Additionally, for a re-engagement automation, you can re-engage your customers who haven't interacted with your brand for a while. So an example here might be if, for example, you sold camping or outdoor equipment, you could actually look at your data and have a look at the regular customers that hadn't purchased from you in a while. You could re-engage them with a series about the great outdoors and then maybe offer them a gift or a value add with any purchase over the value of X, for example. So you can start to get really tricky here with your automations based on trends that you see in your data. And once you actually set up those automations, triggers, they'll always be active, and triggers in your database will actually trigger those automations. So just going back to the workwear clothing brand, for example, when somebody buys work boots, you might find that they are buying the work pants 3 months later. So when you actually have a new customer that buys your work boots, there'll be a trigger 3 months later actually sending them the work pants automation or upsell offering. So for the loyalty stage, you can actually utilise newsletters as well as a surprise and delight for customers' birthdays. Newsletters should also be more educational and inspirational content rather than actually just about selling. So for the referral stage in your customer's journey, you can build out a refer a friend automation. So this is definitely a win-win for your loyal customers. So, for example, if I was a coffee roaster and sold coffee beans online, now we all know that coffee drinkers are usually coffee connoisseurs and they love to talk about great coffee. So having a refer a friend automation for your loyal customers is definitely a no-brainer. So offering them extra coffee for each friend and boom, watch the referrals come in. And advocacy. So finally, for the advocacy stage, this is your evangelist email series. So the purpose of this series is to actually turn your existing fans into evangelists who actually help with your marketing. So, for example, you could offer like a cashback for video testimonials. So, one of my clients who actually has a natural Thinco, a natural weight loss product called Thinco, they actually offer a cashback to their customers who lose the desired weight in that program. And then they actually produce video testimonials as well as reviews. So, when you get to that stage, there's some really creative ways that you can actually utilize your customers to tell their stories and engage a whole lot more people just like them. So this is what the end-to-end funnel looks like. So I appreciate that it may be a little bit daunting. However, this is all about sustainable growth for your business. This doesn't all need to be executed as of tomorrow. And the good news is that now you actually have an email marketing strategy and you can see the vision of email marketing automation beyond sales and broadcast emails. So once you've actually set up some of your key automations, you've done the hard work. And your automations will just work in the background, nurturing your leads and driving revenue. So today we're going to talk about 2 key automations that I actually recommend that you start with. And then from there, depending on your business, you can actually select the next automation series that will best meet your objectives. So as I mentioned, I appreciate looking at the end-to-end funnel that there's it can be quite daunting because there's a lot there. But to grow your business sustainably and actually have a strategy, it means having a longer term plan. So actually knowing what does that vision look like and ultimately what different series do I want at different stages through the customer journey will give you a plan and a vision to work with for implementing your email marketing automation. So as I mentioned, we're going to touch on 2 that I think are the key ones for small businesses to start off with. And again, depending on what your product is, you might decide to go straight to a refer a friend automated email series after that, because that might be something that actually meets your current objectives and is going to start to generate more revenue for you in the short term. And then you might go back and start to do some of the other automations. So by no means do these need to be built one on top of each other than the 2 key automations that we're going to go through today. So let's get into our key foundation automations. So the first one I'm going to touch on is for the interest stage. And this is where we look at the welcome automation series to further engage the interest of your new subscribers. So the purpose of this series is to introduce a new subscriber to your company, explaining what you stand for and why you're different and what they can expect, and generally create a feel-good experience about their decision to sign up. So a subscriber will receive this series immediately after subscribing and will only receive this automation once. So what we recommend is that you actually start with 4 emails, like a 4-email bed in this welcome automation series. One of my clients actually has 12 now in this series. And again, this is something that we've developed over a few years. You definitely start with your framework and your foundation emails, which is the 4 I'm just about to touch on. And then over time, as you create content, blogs, quizzes, etc., you can actually add that content in. So it becomes a really solid, welcome series over time. So in your welcome series, the 4 emails that we will be covering is 1, the first email is a welcome email. The second one will be a letter from the founder, so a letter from you or your founders. A why us, so why is it a great idea that they've actually chosen us and our brand. And then finally about following us on social. So I've got Vitaya we're going to use as an example just for our welcome series, automation series. So Vitaya is actually a 100% natural skin and hair care company that is Australian certified with an organic baby range. So the purpose of the welcome series is to welcome the subscriber to the list, explain what they can expect to receive, and explain how to redeem their sign-up offer. So you can see here that Batea is kindly offering a 20% discount on your first purchase. The timing for when this automation should be triggered is immediately after the subscriber signs up to your mailing list. And the goal of the email is to encourage a subscriber to make an initial purchase using your welcome offer. Email number 2 in the welcome series is a message from the founder. So best practice here would be the email to come from the founder, as well as a video is really engaging for leads at this stage in the customer journey. So the purpose of this email is to actually explain why the subscriber should choose your brand, and should also strengthen the relationship by including a message from you. So in Batea's email, it is actually from the founder. This is a photo of Liz and her daughters on their local beach. So the timing of this automation is a day after they've actually received the welcome email. The goal of the email is to encourage customer engagement and foster brand loyalty. And they'll particularly be doing this if they click through to watching a video from the founder. So just some tips on a founder video if you're going to think about producing one. So the video shouldn't be any longer than about a minute after you've actually done the final edit. In terms of a flow, it's great to introduce yourself and start off talking about why you actually started your brand. How did your brand come about? What did you find missing from the market at that time? Why you're different, and what's special about your company. And then obviously conclude with like a positive message and thank them for watching or being interested in your brand. Now, I took the opportunity to have a look at some of the audience's websites over the last sort of few weeks. And one thing I did really notice was a common thread was absence on the about page, or even absence of an about page, and talking information from the founder or why you've actually started your business. People today really like to connect with people. So this is such an important area to consider, to bring in your personality, who you are, why you're running the business, why did you start the business, etc. So I really believe that the founder email also is a really important factor in your welcome series. So email number 3, why us? So the purpose of this is basically to explain how your brand is set apart from your competitors, and really highlighting your key features that will make the decision easier for your customers or leads to buy. So again, the timing for this number 3 email would actually be 2 days after your email number 2, so actually to start to spread them out. And the goal is to identify your brand's unique benefits to initiate a purchase. So you can see here with Batea's email, the why us actually includes 4 reasons to choose Batea, such as they're an Australian certified organic baby care company, they give back to the community, and they're also a winner of Australian baby skincare brands. That one says 2018, and I know that they just won it for last year as well. So those kinds of things are really handy on why people should engage with your brand. And for the final email in the welcome series, it's about following you on social. So the purpose here, again, is to encourage subscribers to take what we call micro commitments. So basically by visiting your various social media channels. Batea is asking for their subscribers to follow them on Facebook, to share their favourite products on Instagram, and to get inspired on Pinterest. So they've done a nice job here on utilising the different social platforms to engage different types of target audiences and what they might be interested in and how to utilise or how to engage in their particular social platforms. So then the timing for email number 4 is then 3 days after email 3. So as you can see, we're spreading out those emails. So that's really the foundation for emails for your welcome series. It will obviously take a little bit of investment setting up the email automation, but once they're set up, every time somebody signs up on your website, there's nothing for you to do. They're going to get this welcome series, which is going to start to nurture them and engage them more deeply in your brand and what you're about. So the second key automation that I'm going to focus on is for the evaluation stage. And that's for the abandoned cart series. So this automation is such an important automation for small business owners, as I really believe there's a lot of money, we call it money left on the table. So research actually suggests that 70% of online shopping carts are abandoned. So if you think about how many people have actually get distracted, even yourself, you put something in the cart, something's gone on, you've had a call, you've had something to do with the kids, something's gone on, you've left something in the cart. 70% of people are doing that, and a significant amount of those people are actually interested in purchasing, but they've been distracted. So it definitely shows a great opportunity to maximise revenue with an abandoned cart series. So there was also a study that revealed that when the abandoned cart series consists of 3 emails or more, that it has actually been shown to increase revenue by 56% compared to 1 email. So I'm aware that most of the e-commerce platforms have a transactional abandoned cart email. Ideally, switch that off, use your email marketing platform to set up your abandoned cart series and actually do a 3-part series. So we'll just run through what's the objective of each of those 3 and their timings. So we're going to use Thinco, which I sort of touched on before, as our abandoned cart case study for today. So Thinco is a 100% natural weight loss support program. So the first email in this series should be sent out shortly after the shopper abandons their cart. So the prospect may have become distracted, as I mentioned, or had something come up which has actually hindered their buying process. So this email is designed to remind them that they're actually missing something or left something in their cart, and give them the direct link back to their cart to complete their order. The second email in the series is sent to the prospect 24 hours after they've abandoned their cart. So email 2 is designed to remind the subscriber of the benefits of your product and service. And this is also an ideal time to offer a guarantee that will actually reduce the risk of them going ahead and purchasing their product. So if you've got a 30-day money back guarantee, free shipping on returns, any of those kinds of things, are great to include in the second email. And in the third email, so this is your last chance at converting a customer, and it's definitely a great time to provide a little bit of extra incentive that might help sweeten the deal. So offering a limited time coupon might actually encourage a subscriber to go back and complete their purchase. Okay, so that was largely the email automation information that we're going to cover in the deck today. We've got lots on best practices around email design, etc., that we're going to go into. But before we go into that, we just wanted to remind you, if you've had any questions so far about those automations, don't forget to write it down, because we'll address them later on in the Q&A session. And again, as I appreciate, there's a lot of information that we've covered there. But in terms of an email marketing strategy and understanding the capabilities of that strategy over, the future for you to build out, that's sort of your framework. You can forget about that, but really just focusing on the welcome series and the abandoned cart series, I think, is the best takeaways if you don't currently already have these set up. So just going to touch more broadly on email marketing automation best practices. So I recommend, as we run through these, just make any notes of any practices that you can take away and tweak with your existing emails, so that basically you can get your emails set up as best practice. So email tactic number 1. So apologies to Di and Debbie and Carrie and Joanne and Simona and Glenn. I know you've all seen this particular tactic in a couple of our previous webinars. This is for the new small business owners that have just joined us today for the webinar. So I promise this is the only tactic that I'm repeating today. But it is an important one, particularly talking about email marketing. We need to capture emails. So how do we do that? Do you actually have an email capture form on your website? So if you have an email capture form, or if you need to add one to your website, it's recommended that you optimize your email capture forms to improve your conversions by highlighting subscriber benefits and always including an offer to your subscribers. So when you leave today, it wouldn't hurt to have a think about, why should people subscribe? What are they going to get in return? And what kind of content are they going to receive? So it's more than just popping up a form and putting in sign up for your email. To really capture email, it's great to have a think about those 3 questions to help in your messaging and your conversion for email sign up. So here's just one example from Boom, who we did a case study on earlier in our webinar series. So they have a pop-up basically offering a 10% discount on your first order. This is a second example that I've used previously as well, which I love, because basically if you have an aversion to adding a pop-up to gather your emails, you can go down this route, like Go To Skincare. So they've taken a very cute approach to their pop-up by saying website pop-ups are the absolute worst. Sorry, the digital marketing monsters made us. This really gives their audience just a sense of their brand personality, which I think is quite cute. So they've done a great job there. Okay, so moving on to tactic number 2. So do you have an email template set up? So this is really important to ensure brand consistency. And you can start by developing just your header and your footer, which will contain most of the important links that you need to cover, such as links to your website, shop buttons, contact us, etc. So email templates are one of the most important elements to implement before designing any email marketing material. An email template is a pre-formatted email that can be used quickly and easily to create, write, and send emails without having to start from scratch. So basically, in terms of your automations, I would be starting with your email template before you even start with your welcome automation. And the great thing about having a template as well is once you've got your welcome automation and your abandoned cart automation set up, you'll have a template still for your broadcast emails, if you've got promotions or you've got different things going on, so that you'll really have that brand consistency with your email marketing. So definitely some of the key benefits for, particularly for small business owners, which is very important, is saving you time, having consistent formatting and brand consistency. So we're just going to run through some specific tips for consideration when developing your email template. So first of all, it's actually really important when designing your template to be compliant with the Can-Spam Act. So the Can-Spam Act is a law that actually sets the rules for commercial emails. So there's a couple of things which need to be incorporated into your email design. So as you can see here, number 1 is the company physical mailing address is important. You must have that on your email. Also having an unsubscribe link. And then finally, an update your information or preferences link. So it's also best practice to include a view web version link in your email templates. So basically that link at the top of the email that you often see, that's the view in browser link. So it points to the web hosted version of your email, which is kept on your server. So this helps recipients who can't either view the HTML emails or have the image downloading switched off. They can actually view the full version online. So an easy one, do you have the company logo in your email template? I'm sure you do, but having it above the fold and near the view the email link is really, really important, and linking back to your homepage. So the next best practice tip for your email template setup is what we call quick links. So these are links that you can have at the bottom of your template as well as at the top of your template. And direct them to directed to specific areas on your website that you want to send your audience or your leads with basically one click. So this could be your shop page, for example. It could be your about page, contact us. So at the top here, you can see they've got links for treatments, etc. But they've also got quick links at the bottom, products, about us, etc. So our next tip is having a designated promotional banner space in your email template. So you can see here Lux Skin and Beauty have got their 30% off promotional banner. Now, the great thing about having a designated spot on your email template for a promotion. You don't obviously need to have it in there all the time, but it's just a reminder. If you've got monthly offers on, or it's Mother's Day or coming up to Christmas or any of those kinds of things, it's just a reminder of adding in, something relevant that's timely, value add, for example, into this section. So that's a best practice definitely for your email template. So our last tip on what to include in your email template setup is your social icons. So these can be included by using basically your social links that you can drag and drop. There's a drag and drop feature in the email template builders, which makes that really simple. So tactic number 3, are your emails optimized for a mobile first experience? So in general, 60 to 80% of traffic comes from mobile devices. So it's important to make sure that your emails and website are fully optimized for the small screen. So tactic number 4, are you utilising segmentation for your email campaigns? So in MailChimp, for example, they actually have 3 pre-built segments, and they fall into a subscriber engagement segment. So this is basically available for all MailChimp users. These are based on the sign-up date of your contacts and how they interact with your email campaigns. So you could use these segments, for example, to send a welcome email to a new subscriber, or to re-engage people who haven't opened any of your recent email campaigns. The second segment is customer behaviour segments. So these are actually available when you connect your store, so your Shopify, for example, or your WooCommerce to MailChimp, and they provide a quick way to reach your potential recent first-time, repeat and lapsed customers. So you can actually use these segments to send thank yous or messages to first-time buyers, or if you had customers that haven't actually been activated for 6 months, depending on your product, for example, you can actually utilise those different behaviours to send automated email series to them. And then the final one is demographic segments. If you're using ActiveCampaign, just another example of an email marketing platform, they actually have 3 primary ways that you can group your contacts. So one is lists, 2 is tags, and you can also create custom fields. So these are used to segment, obviously, or group your contacts by like attributes and or actions. And the goal of this is to use all 3 of these with one another to really create, a personalised marketing experience. Tactic number 5, are you performing A/B testing on your emails? So A/B testing, or also known as split testing, is basically when you send 2 versions of an email to a segment of your audience, and then track which ones get the most opens or clicks, depending on what metrics you're looking at. So whichever one wins obviously gets sent to the rest of your list. This process can definitely sound tedious. However, many email marketing services like MailChimp have actually automated that and made it really easy, even if you're an email beginner. So that is a great way to get better engagement with your emails. Again, it does take time setting it up, but the result and the return on investment there is definitely worth it over the medium, to long term. So that's basically our last tactic for your consideration on the email marketing best practices. So just before we're finishing off today, we've obviously got our Q&A session coming up. I appreciate that today was packed full of information. So how can you actually get help on your e-commerce email marketing after the session? You can click on the link in the chat box, which will take you straight to the sign-up form for your free e-commerce marketing best practice checklists. So the email marketing automation best practices are in the best practice checklist. So it actually goes through each of the best practices, but it also covers other things like data analytics and insights. So as I was mentioning earlier with the examples for the coffee roaster and the camping and outdoor equipment, etc., the way to really have effective email automations is by looking at your existing data. So if you don't have your existing data set up in a way that you can start to look at these trends and get insights to set up, specific automations, then the best practices checklist actually touch on those, as well as lots of other things that we've covered in the previous webinars. Thank you, Christine. She's popped the link there into the chat box. Additionally, you can also click on the second link that Christine will pop into the chat box. So I've basically offered the NRA members a free exclusive 30-minute call with myself. I would love you to book in for a call if you've had any questions from any of the previous webinars that we've been through, anything today about email marketing automation that we might not cover off, and basically anything to do with e-commerce marketing. Also, if you actually have a clear, I know that some people that are on today are already doing email marketing and do have a email marketing strategy. If that's the case, I actually highly recommend, if you need some support in further developing that out, that you can head over to the StraightArrow website. They've got an NRA dedicated webpage as well, and they're experts in rolling out, designing and developing automated email marketing as well. Okay, so just moving into our question and answers. I'm also happy for any questions to come in from any previous webinars or anything that might be related to e-commerce marketing that is on your mind today. Okay, so if I'm just starting with my email marketing strategy, which part of the funnel do I begin with, or what is the best way for me to start with this? Okay, so look, as I mentioned, definitely starting with the welcome series and the abandoned cart. So from there, you can actually go to whichever series you believe will meet your business objectives. Ultimately, you want to have them all live over time, but it's okay. That can actually take a couple of years if you're actually balancing everything else on your list. If you see the value and are really keen to accelerate email marketing automation, obviously there's options to outsource. So in terms of all of those automation series, we have templates, objectives, copy briefs, etc. that are full templated solutions for all of those automated email series, and we actually partner in with StraightArrow to design and develop and execute those. So you can either set them up yourself depending on your budget and your time frame and how you prioritise your email marketing, or you can outsource and certainly get some of those automations up a lot quicker. Thank you, Simona. So there are many email marketing tools on the market. Which one would you recommend specifically for e-commerce businesses? So currently using MailChimp because you're still under the free limit. Yeah, absolutely. Look, I would highly recommend, so MailChimp is definitely the most cost-effective and simplest tool to start with email marketing automation. After that, ActiveCampaign really starts to get into more of the active automations. However, depending if you've got Shopify, for example, Klaviyo is a very good product-based email automation platform for Shopify and for product. So those three are probably the best that I would recommend depending on your stage of growth. With ActiveCampaign, you can actually really build out a lot of those more complex automations. So if you don't want to, duplicate work, again, depending on your budget and your database size, starting with your template in ActiveCampaign, building out your welcome, building out your automated series, you've got all those templates, you've got all of that content that you can actually bring into other automations as well. So if you're planning on building out your strategy a lot more, looking at a bigger tool, if you're just starting out, MailChimp's the right place to be. So in terms of my favourite email marketing automations, absolutely. So MailChimp, as I mentioned, as a basic tool, and then ActiveCampaign for a more complex automations. Okay, do we have any other questions? So I just really wanted to say thank you to the audience very much. I know we've had some regular people coming along. I'm sad to say that this is the end of our 4-part webinar series for the NRA members. Many thanks again to Rebecca at the NRA, as well as Christine from StraightArrow, for having me speak at these sessions. I've thoroughly enjoyed them, and I really hope that you've got some takeaway from them that you can execute in your business to support your sustainable growth. So don't forget that you can reach out to me anytime for e-commerce guidance, and between StraightArrow and myself, together we can be there to support you on your e-commerce journey. So whether you're taking one step at a time or if you want to accelerate your growth, we are here with you so that you don't have to go it alone. So many thanks and goodbye for now.